And I've known Sophia for a number of years, and like you're gonna see just from how she presents and all the little gadgets that slide across the screen, she's all about making it look fantastic, but the impact of what she's gonna deliver is phenomenal. And I'm really, really over the moon that we've joined up to do this today, because I think that some of what you lot sharing your stories and your passions and your purposes and your dreams, I can see great impact. So I look forward to seeing the impact from this workshop and seeing how if anything shifted for anybody, because I know Sophia has a gift and talent in regards to helping shift mindsets and helping to change lives as well for people. So with that, I'm going to let Sophia finish introducing herself to you guys. All right, and welcome, Sophia.
Can we, before I even get started, saying who I am, saying hello to everybody, can we just give a little round of applause for Marcia for that first part? Because I don't know if you guys know each other or not, if you've met each other or not, but to have people just be so open and so vulnerable and real on something like this where you haven't met each other is quite a unique gift, Marcia. You make people feel comfortable, relaxed, and at home. Yes. And that's a great thing. Marcia, great job, and I'm glad that they congratulated you there. All right. All right, so I'm Sophia Bailey-Larsen. I may have seen some of you before, but I'm here to continue from what Marcia has said, and she's asked me to speak about goals. So the first thing that I would love to know from you guys, just to show the links between this leading from purpose onto goals. Question: if your success depended on just one decision that you make today, what would that be? For you to succeed, you have to make one decision. What do you think that that might be? Write in the chat, think to yourself, whatever you think that one thing could be. Because decision making is going to be a huge part of you being able to succeed. But the reason I know that is because I studied this guy. His name is Napoleon Hill. He's famous for a book called Think and Grow Rich, amongst many others, but this is the most famous one. And I quickly want to ask you guys, you can raise your hands, or I wish I had a senior, but but no worries. But I'm wondering if anyone has not heard of the book, because then I won't go too much into it. Anyone who has, say yes. And if you haven't, yes. Quick intro into that book then, to stay consistent. To stay consistent, I like that. I'm going to come back to these answers in a sec. So Napoleon Hill is someone that is known for analyzing successful people. He took 20 years. This was a long time ago, 1908. He took 20 years. Love that, Jennifer. He took 20 years interviewing the world's most successful and wealthiest people in his time and seeing what is it that they have in common. And at the same time, he looked at what everybody that was not as successful, people that were failing in life that couldn't understand why, he also looked at them. And we don't talk about that so much. We talk about the successful people, but the summation of what he did was to create this book called Think and Grow Rich. And it had principles that show you what it is that you need to do to become rich. So I ask you guys, okay, if you had to do one thing, what would it be? Let's have a look. Georgina, you're the most indecisive person. I get it. It's not easy to be decisive. There are so many options, like all day. They bombard you all day, literally all day. You see, I don't post a thing on social media. I'm just like, what do I post? Like all day. To stay consistent. Absolutely. And I think someone was saying there, like, everyone says that I'm so consistent, reliable. I don't feel like that. People say I'm consistent. I've been doing the same thing for probably 20, 30 years. But even though from the outside, it doesn't always feel like that. Same for you, Georgina. You were like, I'm doing so many things. But someone says, do you know someone in broadcasting? You know exactly who it is. So the thing that Napoleon Hill found out is that successful people, they make decisions fast. When they're asked to make a decision like that, and I asked you if your success depended on a decision, what would it be? A successful person knows immediately what it is that you have to be. And you guys are starting to hit the nail on the head. It is to take action. To take action. Like, there is probably nothing else I can teach you about your goals today other than how to think about goals and how to act when you have a goal. Because you could be right, like you can have the most beautiful purpose set up there, you can have the most beautiful goal outline. And if I don't teach you how to think in order to act, who cares? Who cares what you wrote down? You could write down the same thing every single year and nothing could change. Do you get me? Do you understand? So we're going to talk about that today. The reason I can talk about that is because I am a Napoleon Hill certified instructor. That means that I've studied with his foundation for a number of years. I'm also one of the instructors at his institute that trains the other instructors every year at Wise, Virginia. In addition, as Marcia was about to say something about the science, in addition, I'm also a master trainer with the Neurochange Institute. And that means that I change neurochange practitioners, people that understand the neuroscience behind change and goal achievement and human performance. I put them together to make the science of thinking rich. Is that what you're trying to think of? The science of thinking rich. And we were going to do science of excellence today, but that's we're not going to do science of excellence today because I've been speaking to everyone and I've been thinking about everything you've been saying. And earlier on today, Marcia sent me a couple of posts that she was writing in order to like promote the event a little bit more. And then one of them was this guy that was really just so fed up with work. He's like, I want to cry. Before I go to bed, I want to cry that I have to be doing this. Life is just so exhausting. How am I supposed to do this every day? And another was a lady was like, look, it's 7 a.m. I don't want to be getting ready for work. I want to be getting ready for people to have conversations with me about what is the business, what is the project, where's the money? And I realized like where I've come from, which I'm going to tell you in a sec. Sean said, you've come a long way. Because when you sent me those, I resonated. I remember all of those. So right now, yeah, I'm a Napoleon Hill certified practitioner. But the reason why I wanted to be a trainer, and don't worry if you can't see everything. I know some of you are on your phone, so no worries, I will tell you. The reason why is because when I was looking into this work, I've come from a background where I was a teenage mother. My mum also left me and went to Jamaica when I had my first kid at 17 and didn't really know what I was doing at that time. And I had to figure things out a lot. I was on an estate near Battersea Power Station. That's where I lived with my baby at 17, surrounded by my next door neighbor was a drug dealer. Most of my neighbors were drug dealers or drug takers or teenage mums. That's who lived where we lived then. But how I had grown up, I had some access to my mum doing network marketing, me hearing about things like Think and Grow Rich and success principles, and the fact that if you think a certain way, you will have a certain outcome. So I knew that was there, and I knew that where I am right now doesn't feel like me. I feel like crying. I know that I don't want to be getting up all the time and having to dodge these people. I don't want to be among them. I feel like there's something, but I don't actually know how. And when I look at these principles and I look at these people, nobody looks like me. So does that mean that it's not possible for me? Because there's no young Black women out there that are telling me what it's like. Yeah, we should have actually done that. Comfort break, no problem. I just did. So there's nobody out there looking like me. And it made me feel like for you to be successful and follow these kind of things, you have to be an old white man, or you have to be in the old boys network, or you have to be something that you're not. And therefore you will not become this person. You will not get out of this place. It's just not going to happen for you. But at the same time, I was always looking for evidence. Marcia, at the beginning, you were asking about what we were good at and, what did we do as a result of that? So something I was good at when I was younger was maths and computers. I was good at those. but I got pregnant before at the end of my GCSEs, I was already pregnant, like when I left school. So I didn't really go on to college. I didn't do more, but I knew that I'd had GCSEs that were good in the areas of maths and good in the areas of computers. So why don't I go and do something computery? It wasn't what I wanted. I wanted to be a commercial graphic artist, an architect, or a government statistician, right? Those were the things I wanted to do. But at the time, I just did what I could do and I stayed in that field. And I think in some ways, doing just something because you're not quite sure what it is that you love most, but you're good at it. That's what I was good at. So I'll do that. But I was not passionate about being an accountant. It actually didn't fit my personality at all. And so when I went to work every day, I still felt like, even though I'd begun to do quite well in my fields, um, that I could probably do something else. That I was starting to see people that were networkers, that were entrepreneurs, that had their own businesses. And I was thinking that would be better for me because I'm coming home and I am a bit short with my now two children. Next one I had when I was 21. I've got two little girls. I'm a single mum. Their dad died suicide when they were very young. So I've got these two little girls and I'm working my way up in this field as an accountant, giving my everything there, hating it and wishing I was with my kids. Going home, being with my kids, wishing I could start a business. Starting on my business thinking I need to do my work because otherwise if I can't do the business, it's not going to make money. And something said to me, just like you guys are saying in the actions here, if you can make one decision that's going to change your life, what would it be? I have to take some action. I have to do something different because this cycle could go on forever. Like this could just be it unless I do something different. And that was very, very scary because what if I start a business and that doesn't work? So like yourselves, I'm looking for personal development, tips, ideas, things to do. And long story short, I can give you the longer story. If you go to my website, I'll give you my book of that chapter of what actually happened, the journey to success. But long story short, I decided I was going to leave my job and start my business. I gave myself a goal and a plan. I got made redundant and they gave me 6 months money. And I'm like, I know what I've got to do. I know what the vision is. I know that I'm going to start my business. I feel that people need what I've got to offer. At the time, it was I don't know how far back you know me from, Sean, but at the time it was the PPSM, which was the Positive People with Skills Network. And that was me saying to people, we've all got different skills. We can all do something to help each other. Why not trade skills and build this Black community network where we trade together and teach our children? So I started doing that. I brought my little girls along, other people brought their kids, and we had surrounding them with role models. And I think, okay, I'm going to launch something like a card where you can go, you are incentivized to go to people's businesses, Black people businesses, and you spend there because you're incentivized to do that. And everyone's going to want this. And I've got this 6 months of money and I've got this clear vision. And this is my purpose, that I am here to, kind of liberate people. We want to do that, right? We want to help people that are like ourselves. I want to be the person who's out there in the community, knowing that there's another option, and we can all do this. So I'm starting to do this, but it's not really taking off in the way that I felt that it would. I've left my job, so I don't have that income anymore. I've got 6 months to make it work. And I'm connecting with people because I'm out there talking and they're all coming around me and saying, oh, you could do this and I'll help you and I'll volunteer. And I'm trying to do all the things. I'm sounding like Georgina, like I'm doing I'm doing all the things, clear vision of who I want to be, but I'm doing all the things, yeah. And then this big event comes up. I think it was called Adornment. Anyone know Adornment from many, right? You remember Adornment? It was Adornment. And because of the way that I spoke in the community, they said to me, would you be the ambassador for Adornment for the UK? And I'm like, yeah. And I sunk money into this. I'm going to have my stand. I'm going to launch my thing. The USA ambassador was Erica Badu. The UK ambassador was me, right? And I'm like, okay, this is where I launch this. Everyone's going to love it. There's like 5,000 people here. They're going to buy up the cars. This is going to become my business. Show of hands or in the chat, how many do you think are sold of those cards or this idea? Like I put a lot of money. You've got to have all the right stands behind you, right? And the leaflets and the flyers and the proper plastic business cards and the everything that you need. How many do you think are sold of these Buyers Club cards? With everything that I put together, I've got this vision, I've got a plan, I've got some money, I've done the thing, I've shown up. 5,000, says Caroline. Thank you for your belief. Sean, are you saying 5 or 5,000 too? 5. Georgina said 5. He said 5. Man, I needed you guys around me back then. I think it was about 5, honestly, guys. It was about 5. It was about 5. It was about 5. And I couldn't believe it because I didn't have money left. I had taken the leap of faith. I had taken the action. I didn't have money. I did have a mortgage. I did have 2 kids. I did have my bills. I didn't have a job. I did have this position where I felt everyone is looking at me now. I can't go and ask for help or say the truth of this matter because everyone thinks you're good. And sometimes the fear of that is enough to not let you move in the way that you want or ask for help. So I'm trying to figure it out, but I couldn't figure it out because I wasn't asking for help. And eventually, a couple of months later, they're saying, like, you haven't paid your mortgage for a couple of months now. You're there. We're going to take that away. We're going to take your house away. And my house was up for repossession in court. And a friend messaged me, called me, was like, Sophia, I haven't seen you for a couple of weeks. How's the dormant go? How does all that stuff go? And I was like, I failed. I don't know what I'm going to do now that my house is in court. I'm not there because I don't have this money. I don't know how I'm going to make the money. There's no one out there I can ask. And he said to me some very wise words that are going to lead us through this presentation because I want you to understand the power of your networks and the people around you. What my friend said when he called me was, but Sophia, you're saying that you failed. Do you know any successful person? Can you name one successful person that never felt like a failure? Can you find anybody that says, I have lost everything, but never won anything? It's not a thing, it's a cycle. You have to understand how success works. You have to understand the thinking of how success works. I thought because I had people around me and a plan and an idea that things were going to work. But how things actually work when you have your vision and your goals is what we're going to go to. And what began to shift for me in that moment was, so it's a part of my journey, this. This is going to be a part of my story later. And I tell it loads of times. But God, in that moment, I did not think it'll be part of the story later that I'm telling people, you know. But in the moment, these dark times being part of your story makes you think a different way about the opportunities and the time to take action, the times to take action, the way to make a goal. So skipping and going fast forward, this is what I want you to understand about your own situation, whatever that may be, whether it be in health or finances or work or business or parenting or whatever. I've had challenges in all of them, and I've used the same thinking to overcome in all of them. Yeah. The thing about this is quickly go to the chat. But the thing about this, in any one of those scenarios, is that there are always one of 2 decisions that you can make, one of 2 paths you can take. And depending on how you think, you'll take one or the other. So Napoleon Hill, he wrote Think and Grow Rich, and he wrote it based on something called Laws of Success. And he wrote a number of other books about this. He even wrote one where he tried to apply his own principles that he'd learned. He'd spent 20 years studying, and then after 20 years couldn't apply to himself and felt like a failure. It's called Outwitting the Devil. And Outwitting the Devil, what he came up with is that people are either one or another type of person. They're called a drifter or a doer. Let's call the drifters dreamers for the purpose of this, right? They're either dreaming or they're doing. They're dreaming or they're doing. And how it looks is this. When you, just for you to, it's important that you understand and recognize this for yourself, okay? So the drifters are the dreamers are people, they lack the purpose, direction. They don't have control over their thoughts. They move passively through life. They let other people or chances dictate how the outcome's going to go. That's pretty much how I was doing. I had a dream and stuff, but I wasn't really in control of it because I had all the people around me telling me what to do, and I was just following it. I was drifting. I wasn't making wise decisions. I wasn't making decisions backed in fact. I was making decisions based on opinion and things that they would say. He said that when you are born, you are given two envelopes, right? One is called rewards, one is called penalties. And the drifters, they're the people that get to choose from the envelope when there is a difficult time, called penalties, paid by people who neglect their mind and don't direct their mind to what their goal is. That means maybe they get ill health, they lose their love, they lose their money, they get frustrated and unhappy, they have to depend on others, they're always in fear or in hatred. That's how he said it. When you choose that way, that's what happens. It's inevitable that you drift when you have penalties or just dreams, you go that way. The other way is a doer. We say take action. We want to become the doer, right? The doer gets the rewards. So it's one or the other. This is the people that take control of their thoughts and direct them to their goals. They get improved health, peace of mind, financial prosperity, happiness, good relationships, freedom, independence. They're not relying on other people for the way that life goes. So I say this because, I mean, I do vision boards. It's a very important part of the way that we train our brain. Our brain must be given focus. It must be directed to a goal. But without the right type of goals and plans and motives behind it, it's more than likely you become a drifter and you never achieve it. Yeah. So let me hear your thoughts on that. At the moment, do you feel that at every important turning point in your life, where have you been? You don't even have to say it to me. Have you been drifting, or are you the direct owner and driver and forward mover towards your goals? It's something that we all have to take responsibility for. We have to, if we want life to change. So I like to say, because of learning the neuroscience of change, something came up that most people don't really think about. You see, most of the time that I've been speaking, which has been quite a long time now, I will be telling the same story. I was a teen mom and this person died. The same story I'm telling now. This teen mom, the kid's dad died, all the relationships were abusive, I lost my house, this happened, and that replays on your head. It replays on your head. And it replays in your mind to such a level that it begins to rewire the way that you think automatically. So the decisions that you take in the moment are based on those things that went wrong. They're based on all the past things that haven't worked for you, because they're the only stories that you repeat over and over again about who you are in the moment that you want to make a decision. The good news is, out of the 60,000 thoughts that we take every day, we do have the ability to change them. When we are conscious about the way that we want to think, we get to change them. And when we change the way we think, we get to change our outcomes. We get to change our relationships. And those relationships change the opportunities we have. The opportunities change like the environments that we're in, the way that we deal with, like, I don't know, it's Marcia's frozen. The way that we deal with all sorts of situations that come up because of the way that we think. So I want to show you how to bridge that gap, because the good news, anyone, all of us on the call, me especially, if I could do it in so many areas, in my health, in my relationships, in my finances, like I've moved country, all these different things I can do, definitely were from what I'm going to share with you today about how you plan your goals. All right. So let me make sure that everybody is ready. If you're ready, say go. If you're ready, say go. And I know you're up and ready. And let me see if Marcia, who
Go.
has come back, go, she says go. Jennifer says go. Here you go.
I'm
Type
here.
go. Go.
Yeah, Regina's ready. I'm ready.
I like that long
I got
ready.
no shit, but
Shoot. We're ready. Go. She says go, 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 go. All right. Hey. Where's my Marcia? I don't know. Just eating with the kids. I get it. I was just,
Sean says go.
let's go, let's go.
You hear
All right.
me?
I'm going to do a thing
Oh
here that I
no.
haven't done, right? Which is use a whiteboard. I tried it just a minute ago, Marcia. So hopefully it
Am I
was.
here? Can you
You're
hear
here
me at
now.
all? So, oh, okay,
You're
cool.
here now. You got frozen a bit. I don't know if you heard anything. It's
Yeah,
quite
yeah, I heard everything. I didn't miss a thing.
good, good, good. All right. So here we are. First, dreams. Dreams. We know about our dreams. We dream them all the time. And especially if you are committing to booking a session like this, you're aware that you want something more or different than what you have, because that's what the dream is. It's not the same that you have unless you're living the dream. But even people that are living the dream want more. The nature of us is that we want more. I'm going to get the whiteboard. New whiteboard. All right. So this is how it looks when we have the dream. Ah, that's nice. Can you see it? A whiteboard for me. Is it showing
I
up?
can see it. I
All
don't
right, the
know.
whiteboard is there. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I can. I saw. How you did it?
Oh, Marcia is right. All right, cool. Stop writing on my dream board. Now you are dreaming. Marcia's having a go. I didn't know it was collaborative. No problem. All right, first time with the whiteboard be up. Right. When you have a dream, it looks like this. All right. A dream, a purpose, a goal. It looks like this. It's full of all the things that you want. That's how it looks when you have a dream. However, when you have a goal, this dream is like the map of the places you want to visit, the places you want to go, the places you want to go. When you're a goal setter, you also add a bit more of a plan. So you might have the thing that you have to do first, and second, and third, and fourth. We're not just focused on this big thing, because this big thing to our mind can be quite overwhelming. We don't know where to start. Like, I think it was Carol saying, I've got a 5-year plan. I know what I want, but I'm not quite sure the steps. It goes here. But after this, it doesn't just stop here. It goes here. These are the smaller parts of breaking down what needs to happen in each section of your dream in different times. The reason we do that is so that our brain can handle first the bigger picture. It likes that to stop being overwhelmed so it can begin to take action. After it knows, okay, I'm going to show you an example in a moment. After it knows these, then it starts to write the lists. It starts to write the lists of what things to do. Dreamers only have that big circle. They know the big thing that they need to do. Goal setters do this. They look at the big dream, and then they say, okay, for that dream to happen, these 4 things need to happen. For that first thing to happen, these 3 things need to happen. For me to get that first one done, I need to go this, 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 and they put date on it. That's not overwhelming. To do this small thing here is not too overwhelming. They say the dream is like drawing a map of the places that you want to visit. But the doing part, the achievement of your goal is like, now we know we're actually going to visit it. We know, we're thinking, okay, when I when I plan a holiday, for instance, when I plan something like a goal, a holiday, who else is looking at what resort they're going to, what the weather's going to be like, what do they wear in that weather, what will I be doing on each day, what do I wear for that, what do I pack in, do I need repellent, do I need sun cream, do I need like absolutely everything of that goal. When you're traveling and you know you're not going to be at home, you pack and you plan like that. But when you just have a dream and you don't plan to do the thing, you don't break it down. So your brain likes you to break it down, and your brain also rewards you for all the little bits that you get done. And Napoleon Hill looked at the way people write these goals, and he wrote this book called Achieving Your Goals. Good thing I have it because it's mirrored and backwards. Achieving Your Goals, 4 proven principles of success. 4 things that we want to do if we want to turn these dreams into goals and accomplish them. And the very first one is one that you guys said. It's taking initiative, personal initiative. Initiative is taking action so that we know that we're going to surpass any blockages that might come our way along the route to our goal. Taking initiative, like putting yourself forward for things. I always sit, for instance, when I go to any seminar, I'm front center. When people ask for a volunteer, my hand is up. I take the initiative and make sure I'm noticed. My purpose is show up, because I know it's by showing up that I'm always noticed for the opportunities that I have. The opportunities to be on stage with some of the greatest speakers in the world, the opportunities to lead massive organizations wherever I am, the opportunities to have, you know, the house that I wanted, that everybody else wanted. All the different things is because of the way that I will take initiative. I'm going to show you how to do it. It's like this. Whoops. You know, don't write nothing on here with me. I'm going to do my best drawing of, you can tell what that is. Oh God, Lord God, what is this? She's doing it. All right. I think next time I will maybe draw this one. Is this okay? So just for you to understand the parts of this book on achieving your goals, we're going somewhere. Where do you think that place is when we say that we're on the way to somewhere? That place is what you call your purpose or your goal. Ooh. Inside is you. Well, that one came out all right. Inside is you. You are personal initiative. You are the driver. It's up to you which direction you're going. It's up to you whether you start or stop. It's up to you who comes along the journey with you. All of that is up to you. Okay. The plan, all those little lines that I wrote underneath, all those little things that you do, that's just your GPS. It's just your guide. You can choose to follow it or not follow it. You can choose the pace in which you follow it as well. And the main thing that we need to get from here, I don't know how else to draw it, but it's the motive. It's the fuel. It's the fuel that takes you to a particular place. It's a fuel. So right within you is the initiative, the ability to take action, the ability to know what it is you're doing, and the ability to take action. Oh, gee whizzes. It's based on the purpose that you have. That's how you decide whether you want to say yes or no to an opportunity. There's another thing here. There's another thing that comes up here that I'm going to come back to. But imagine this is how your journey is when you want to do something. Yes, you get that. That's how it is. So personal initiative is you in the driving seat, moving towards exactly what you want. And in Napoleon Hill's book, he puts a formula to be able to succeed using personal initiative. He says personal initiative, this ability to act that you have so that you're moving towards being a doer, towards your purpose and goals and not a drifter, plus OP, which is an organized plan. An organized plan. The organized plan is one that your mind will accept as easy, breakable steps to be able to do it so that you don't repel it, so you can get the dopamine that wants you to keep on doing it over and over again. And then the motive towards doing that. All right. So I have a car. The reason I drew such a bad car, one, because it was not very easy with my mouse. Number two, because I've got a car related story. Because when I was thinking about all this, And Marcia sent me those two memes today. I went back to earlier on when I heard my first car, thinking about the vehicle towards success. So when I was coming up to 30, maybe 25, I'd been working hard. I had these, my little kids now, 7 and 3. I know that I'm 30 in a few months. I want to make sure that I've got a mortgage. I want to make sure that I've got a car. I want to make sure that I've got all these things set up and I've got, that I'm basically financially set. I felt at 30 was quite a ripe old age. You're a big woman now, you're quite an old woman now. You better have them things by the time you're 30. But my mother had never driven. No one around me had ever driven. So I would have been the first. There was no one to really learn from. And I had a boyfriend. He said he'll teach me if I get a car. I put aside £500 to buy a car because my plan then was, okay, then I'll buy a car and you can teach me how to drive it. But I was really nervous. I didn't really know what to do. I'd never done it before. And it was difficult. So I went out, and on Brixton Hill, there was a man that had lined up all these cars down the hill. And I saw one little racer and I thought, okay, I'll go and get that one. I'll get someone to come with me because I can't drive. And they did a test drive for me and said, yeah, it's okay. And so I bought the car for 500 quid. They dropped it at my house. And then I started to learn in this car. And I couldn't do the things that my boyfriend was telling me. Like I would try and drive and stop and do the things, but I was just like a quivering wreck the whole time, nervous and anxious. And I never wanted to do it again, to the point that when he was telling me to do things, I would just crash. Because if he didn't say stop, I wouldn't stop. Like I didn't know what to do next. And I ended up crashing the car with my 2 kids in it without a license. And the person that called me about it gave me such a telling of what kind of woman are you? You're so irresponsible that you would be out practicing a car with no insurance, no license, no nothing, because I'm trying. This is my plan. I'll get a parked car and I'll practice, nervous, driving around. That I never wanted to do that again. I told myself the story back then was, I don't ever want to do this again. I'm not good at this. And then what you do when something happens in your life that isn't easy, that is difficult, you begin to justify it after a while. So my story, like now I'm 50, this was over 20 years ago. But my story then became, well, I don't need to really drive because I'm in London. No one drives here. We've all got public transport. Don't need to drive. It's expensive. You can get a bus or you can get a tube, or I can get a taxi if it's important. So I never drove. Fast forward to now, I live in Spain. I'm married now, first marriage. And I also have a son. My little boy is 6. So my big girls that I had in London, they are now 32 and 28. And my little boy is 6. And because I can't drive, here in Spain, you have to drive. But I realized I'm still very nervous and anxious about this. I didn't know why, but I knew the last time I did it, I was so bad at this, I don't think I can do it. Now I'm going to have to do it on the opposite side of the road, 20 years later, in Spanish, which I don't speak. And I'm going to have to do that. So I had to do this plan. And I want you to think of a goal for yourself, or think of the goal you have, and the things that stop you, the things that you're scared about in relation to that goal. Right? Because I was terrified about this goal. And think about the first action that you could take. So we say, if we had to decide to do one thing around that goal, what would it be? What would you take the initiative to do? And in this particular instance, because I've got a little boy and I'm out here, am I going to be stuck for the rest of my life in the house, or am I going to learn to drive? What this says is, what will you take the personal initiative to do? What action will you take toward your goal? For me, I said, I'm going to learn to drive and pass my test. I'd never done that. The first step, the first decision is deciding what action you will do. Take a moment to think about your goal and think about what action overall you need to take. So this is like the big circle. We have that purpose. We know where we're going. We know that dream, that focus. What's the action that needs to happen? It may be, as you said, some of you want to become public speakers. So that's the action. I'm going to do my first booking, or host my first event, maybe, or get my first paid booking or my free booking. Some of you want to set up community organizations or community projects. What's the first action that needs to happen in this instance, the overall action needs to happen. I said, for me, I want to drive. First action, then I got to learn to drive and pass my test. Completely different, because you can mess up on your goals. The first time round I tried this, I was like, I need to get a car and practice. That was not the correct plan. Now, I got to learn to drive and pass my test. Yeah, a little bit more wisdom this time round. That's the first goal. All right, make a note of that. We move on. The second thing is, what is your plan? Because the goal up there without the plan, remember, just the next level of planning, it's still a dream. It's still in the same circle. So for me, I'm writing, the first thing I've got to do then, if I want to drive, I'm writing here, I have to pass the theory. I've got to pass the theory. And then I start to make all the little lines. What do I have to do to pass the theory? I've got to find a theory school first. Once I find it, I've got to register for it and plan what I'm going to do on there. Okay, I know what I'm going to do on there. I'm going to practice. I'm going to practice 2 hours every day. Then I'm going to test myself every week. And I'm going to get to 88%. That's the passing rate. And after that, then I can book my test. That was on the theory side. Then I'll be able to do the practical. So these are just those little circles I'm talking about. We've got the big goal, then we've got the little steps. I'll pass the practical. Then I must find a driving instructor. Take the medical to qualify to have lessons. Book a lesson. Keep booking lessons until I can book a test. So I want you to think of your plan in that way. Digestible. There is nobody that is a real goal achiever that just only focuses on that big thing. They focus on the big thing. And in fact, the first step in Think and Grow Rich, the first step towards all achievement and desire is purpose. You cannot do any of it without knowing where you're going to go, of course. Remember, you are the initiative taker, but it's towards something, towards a purpose. Now you need to at least think, with my plan, how do I get to that first action, the first bit of initiative? Even if you don't break it down as far as this, at least put a couple of action steps that you can take. That's you being the driver, deciding the actions that you will take. The next thing, okay, so you've got a vehicle. You've got a vehicle. You're inside, you're a driver. You've got a purpose, you know where you're going. You've got the plan, that's the GPS, right, of how you're going to get there. However, one of the things that pushes people to not quit is a motive. A motive. I called the motive your fuel. And in Napoleon Hill's work, he says for anybody to take action, they don't take action without a motive. Nobody does things just for the sake of it. They do it because there's a reason, there's a motive. And for all of these different notes, if you want them, I can send them to Marcia after, no worries. If you can't see them, but I'm going to talk them through, okay? The first one is self-preservation. So when I read these through, I want you to figure out, in terms of your goal and your plan and your direction, which is what resonates for me. So number one, self-preservation. This is a desire for material wealth and just security in life. You want to feel secure. When things are difficult, I want to know that things are taken care of. And maybe that is what drives you. Maybe it's what drives you to have a business or to be famous. I want to know that I'm not going to have to worry. If things go wrong, it's all taken care of. Preserving myself and my family. Love is the next one, number two. It's a psychic force related to the spiritual side of man, says. For me, when I first got started doing things, it was about my husband. He does so many things for me that I always I'd be motivated to do things to make sure that he is supported. I always did that. In terms of the driving, though, I felt like my son, he could have so much more freedom in life if I could drive because of our lifestyle here. rather than us having to wait and see if dad is available to drive you to something or to do something. That was my motive, is that one day I'm going to drive my son to the beach. That was the big thing in the circle that I focused on day and night. Fear. Fear is another one. Fear is nothing more than a state of mind, but sometimes it motivates you to change your situation. Like when I was about to lose my house, even though I was afraid to act, I was so afraid that I didn't do anything, fear was also became my motivator. I was in a fearful situation and I had to act because otherwise I would lose everything that I'd worked for. It became self-preservation, but it was rooted in fear. 4, sex. It's like, we call it sex transmutation. It's like when you have, it's a physical component of love, we know that, but it's to create an increase along with somebody else. And sometimes someone that you like and love or lust for can be a good motivator. You will change your whole self, your whole appearance, your whole job, your whole anything, especially men, but also women, for that element. Desire for life after death. Some people's whole drive is legacy. They're like, I just want something to be here when I've gone. That used to be, that's what drove me when I was a young mum with 2 kids. I said, for my grandchildren's grandchildren, I'm working right now. I'm building this whole community so that children will be born into wealth. I want everybody to know wealth principles. And desire for life after death in terms of legacy definitely drove me. And these things change, just like Marcia said. Number 6, freedom for my mind and my body. This is what Jay was saying so well. I want everybody, the basic wish in everybody's heart is a desire to be free. Why shouldn't we all have access? For me, why shouldn't we all have role models that look like us, that let us believe that we can do everything? Why couldn't we be able to go where everybody else goes? 7 is anger, revenge. It's not a very good motive, but it's very powerful. People are driven to do great and big things because they're angry or they're vengeful. Hatred is the same. Desire for recognition, self-expression. Life is always seeking ways to express itself. Personal development is powerful because people want to grow. They want more. And only the last one is wealth and money, because the good in money is what you can do with the money. I've known loads of miserable rich people. Money's not enough if you're not a good person, honestly. You can have money and be sad. I've walked away from a lot of money loads of times in favor of happiness, and then found money because of happiness. You understand? So one of these may be your plan. And the next thing to do with them, if something came, is to identify what is it? What is going to fuel you? Because your action is always going to be born out of motive. Your action is born out of motive. And you have to keep an eye on that, because when things get difficult, it's the motive that is going to keep you going. You're the driver, but you can't keep driving. You can't keep operating without a fuel to get where you want to go. Identify it at the beginning. So for me, my motive, driving my son to the beach. I want the freedom to enjoy just quality life with my son without saying, oh, would you drive us to the beach? Oh, could we go here today? What if my husband says, no, he don't feel like it? Then I can't do what I want to in life, and nor can my son. Or giving my husband more rest. It could have been a motive for money. When I was in network marketing, which is what I went to after I was made redundant, I went to network marketing. I did it because my children were at the age then to go uni, and I needed to make tens of thousands from zero. And I did it. It took me a year and I made 6 figures, but it took me over 7 months to break even because I didn't want to quit on my daughters. And that's what I was saying to you earlier, Sean. I didn't want to say to my kids, you can't do it, because I feel like quitting, because I don't think I can make this work. Your motives should be so strong that will fuel you regardless of the goal, regardless of the objectives. So I want you to really think about your motive for the goals that you have as you think about your plan. All right. So your goals basically align with and serve your purpose. The purpose, if you have the purpose and you don't have the goal behind it, you don't have that vehicle, you don't make a decision to act in personal initiative, to be the driver, you don't fuel yourself, you don't bother with the plan, you cannot possibly reach that purpose and goal. And even if you have the goals and you have a plan and you have everything written down in paper, if you don't have the motive to fuel you, if you do not decide to take action, you will never begin to, the purpose is just going to remain out there, an idea. It's just out there, an idea. So we must connect the two. I wrote in my notes, without purpose, goals are empty or disconnected. And without goals, purpose is just an idea. There are no actionable steps. As I said before, your brain supports all of this. I'm not talking so much science today, Marcia, as I said, the science of excellence, but your brain supports all this. And what I teach my clients is how to make their brain work, what is the science of purpose and how you connect your brain with your purpose so you stop messing up and keep moving on. You know, how you connect it with your emotional intelligence or with your mindset or with your growth mindset or with your neuroplasticity of rewiring your brain and automatically making it do different things. But for today, what I would love you to be able to do, because we're talking dreams and purpose, is only to think about, in terms of your goal, one of those little circles. So we've got this wider circle that you looked at with Marcia, you know, what I've always wanted to be, my life on purpose, where I always want to go. And where would that look like just over the next 30 days, the very first step that you need to take? For me, when I was learning to drive, it was, okay, you need to do the theory test, find a theory center. How long is that going to take? Half an hour. So when am I going to do that? Do it today. Next thing wasn't so hard, you know, pass my theory. How am I going to do that? I'm going to study every day for 2 hours. And then I put them in my calendar, as Marcia said. Everything else is blocked off because I've only got that one goal. That's the thing I want. That's my priority. There's nothing else taking precedence. And I do the same for my fitness, starting the day in the gym. I do the same for my personal development, the way that I feed my mind. Do the same for the way that I eat. Do the same for my relationships that are important to me. The important relationships, we'll talk about that later. We do the same for all aspects of your life in this way. And that is how you go from living a life as a dreamer and a drifter to a life as a doer and someone who is living the life of their dreams. That's how you do it. So we'll start with this 30 days, first step. Break that first step down. The end of this month, it's not even 30 days to end this month, right? We're on day 7. So it's like 20 something days, 25 so days left until the end of this month. What can you do? And as you begin doing it and ticking it off, guess what? That your brain begins to rewire, because every day you begin to focus on that bigger thing. So that becomes your focus. You know your motive and it's fueling you every day to come again. You're getting the dopamine by doing these small actions. It's like, I like this. I like moving towards these goals. I don't want to sometimes go and work out in the morning, but when I get there, I'm remembering, my fuel on that, it's so that when I'm speaking on stage, I can feel that I look good. It's such a low thing, but because my major goal is show up, be the number one Think and Grow Rich trainer. So I tie everything to it. I tie my fitness to it. I tie drinking water to it. I want to be close up on here and feel, and not be looking at myself and looking at my face. I used to do that, just be looking and look like so distracted. What are you looking at? I don't want that. So all these little things that are good, healthy habits for my brain and myself, I tied it in like this. And then what we're going to do, I'm going to give you a sheet like this. It's a goal setting sheet. Up here says the goal, the overall goal. Then it says the plan, the thing that you're going to do, even just for this week, the next area of your plan. Then, oh, sorry, I'm on the wrong screen here. Your goal, and then your plan. Up here is the action that you're going to take today. The next part is your motive. Remind yourself all the time of what it is that's driving you and fueling you. Who benefits here? Is it your children? Is it your community? Is it your bank balance? Who benefits here? The last thing that I haven't added right now is possibly one of the most important things. So let me give you a break to just take 1 minute to make a quick note. And I'm going to add the last and most important thing in terms of this mastermind. 1 sec, I'm back. Yeah. I'm going wrong. I don't have kids, so not really actually, I'm not motive. Yeah, it doesn't have to be kids. One of the biggest challenges that I found with, like, before I had my son, my kids were always my motivation, and it was from guilt, to be honest, because I was a teen mum and I was spoken about so badly and not expected to do anything. I just wanted them to be better than me, and I wanted them to have a better life, and I couldn't quit at it because it proved to me, see, it was true, you were going to fail at life. So I couldn't quit at it. I had to do it. However, when they now became they're 4 years different. So now they became in their 20s. They've got their own jobs. They're not living at home. One's finished uni now. The other one's moved to do her own thing. And they don't need me as much. And I started to lose my motivation. Also, they're both telling me they don't want kids. And my whole motivation had been legacy driven. It's like, I'm doing this for my grandchildren's grandchildren. And like, but mum, we don't want kids. I'm not going to have grandchildren's grandchildren. What do I do now? I'm not going to have that legacy anymore. So it was really hard. And it was a time where I kind of lost my motivation as well, thinking what is going to motivate me? Because I still had a point where it wasn't enough to say that I'm going to do it for myself, for my future self, or for me. I didn't have that aspect of self-love that, Jennifer was talking about, the depth of it, to say it's enough for me to do it for myself. I think what I concentrated on was just being happy with becoming the future self that I saw for myself. Like going into future, visualizing her, every aspect of her day. What's she reading? What's she eating? What's she doing? What's that dream life about? And then falling in love with everything I'm doing now is serving who I'm going to be. And that can be enough. The people around you benefit. And if that's a motivator for you, then that's enough. The people around you really benefit because they get to see a role model. They get to be impacted by something that maybe they don't believe for themselves. And there are so many people that do look up to you, Georgina. But if that's not a benefit, it's easy to be what you can do with money or what you can do as a legacy in your own name, or, any loved ones that you may have, or even just for your future self. It really is enough. For me now, it's enough. I think it takes repetition. It takes looking inside yourself at a deeper level and asking yourself if there's any reason why you don't feel that you're enough. I had to look in the mirror and do a mirror exercise every day, kind of look in it and say, Sophia, I'm so proud of you, looking in my eyes. Sophia, I forgive you. And I'm sorry for things that I've done. And I love you. And we're going to do great things, and really speak into my own eyes. And the first few days of that, man, I cried because there was a lot that I didn't realize that had made me think, you don't deserve to be saying to yourself, yeah, I love you, I forgive you, I'm sorry. But then it allowed me to bring them up. And that was actually what proved myself worthy of having a motive that was just me. Now I've fallen back into bad habits, unfortunately. My motive is my son. It's me and my son. I love doing things for my son. I really, really love doing things for the people around me. But when you find your motive, it's going to fuel you. And this is the power of the last thing that I was going to say. Okay. So the last thing on that sheet you see here is mastermind. The main reasons why I went wrong the first time when I learned to drive, for instance, because I had my boyfriend in there teaching me and he was saying bad things, and it became my self-talk about me driving. The second time, when I got in the car now with my Spanish teacher, they shouted and they were awful and I was scared. However, I got the right person on my side. I failed 3 times at my test. I cried most of the time when I had to learn to drive. But on my 4th time, I went with my husband. 1 moment, 3 more minutes, Sean, if you can. I went with my husband, and having him in the car, he taught me how to drive. In one afternoon, he taught me how to do it. And the next day, I passed my test. Flying, flawless. Having the right person on your side makes a difference. And this is what I am to those people in my corner. When I restarted again after losing everything, it was understanding how to have the right people in my corner. So the last thing for you guys to think about in your goal is, when things go wrong, who do I call? Who is the person that is in my corner who can ride with me? You are still the driver, but when you open the door to someone to come and enter in and take this journey with you, who is the person that has the expertise and also cares about your outcome? They have to care about your outcome too, and have harmony to have a mastermind. Mastermind is the last thing. It's what keeps you on track when you lose direction. And so having said that, my next masterclass with Mastermind is on February the 1st. February the 1st. I'd love you guys to come, because here I do talk about the science. I talk about what it is that I teach my clients. I talk about the one thing that stops you and how in your mind. I talk about the 3 things that you need to do to make yourself a person of excellence that does achieve your goals. And I give you this particular visualization that means that all my clients go from things like not having money to having money, being scared to speak to being TEDx speakers, to being on-stage speakers. Very simple tweaks in the mind I'll be talking about on February the 1st in the Science of Thinking Rich Masterclass. This is having me as your mastermind partner, inviting me to be the person that joins you on your journey, to go through that sheet with you, to help you with the steps that you need to take for the next 30 days until we get there. Marcia, I'm only doing that now. I just thought of it just now. For the people on your call, which is why I told Sean stay, I will help you with a free call for those people that book this masterclass, to fill out this sheet, to get clear on the goal, to get clear on the steps, to be accountable for the next 30 days and make sure that you get there, to understand how this works. All right, so those of you that would love to do that, let me know in the chat. All right, so the biggest lesson here, the first lesson, take initiative. Remember, you are the driver. That's what we're leaving with here. If you want your purpose to align with your goals and dreams, it's about knowing how to take initiative. How to take initiative. Thank you so much, Marcia, for having me in your wonderful annual workshop. And you guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for the feedback. And I'll hopefully see you at my masterclass. And when I do, we'll get to do breakouts, we'll get to do activities. You can absolutely love it. So I will see you there.